Hi everyone, hello. Okay, today we are going to learn how to write a description, and in this story, in this graphic story, uh, we'll be specifying on building. So that is actually later on I will specify to you, but now the important thing is that we are going to write a description from a graphic story. So from a graphic story we are going to write a description. Okay, so okay, first I will start with the story, the graphic story. So at least you will have a, a general picture of what is happening in this graphic story. So before I proceed, because if I were to jump to the skill today, which is to write a description from the graphic story, you have to actually understand the general idea, or uh, the, the general idea of the story. Yes, the graphic story. Okay, if you do not know anything, you cannot write the description. So you have to understand a little bit. Generally, you have to understand a little bit about the graphic story. Okay, so here we have the story, the graphic story at the house. Okay, at the house. Okay, so we will start the first one. In the there are actually how many frames here? Let's see first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are actually 8 frames. There are 8 frames, but in the 8 frames there are very limited dialogues. Uh, there are not many dialogues, but there are there are limited dialogues in each frame, but there are still dialogues. So this is a graphic story with dialogues. So there are 8 frames. Huh? So let's start at the house. Okay, the first frame. Huh? Let's look at the first frame. Okay, let's look at the characters. These are actually the super friends. Okay. These are actually the super friends. So they are, where are they? They are actually, the super friends are actually in the garden of a big old house. You can see a big old house. Why do I say an old house? If you see closer, later on I will show you each frame, okay? But right now, uh, just get the general idea of the story, okay? So you can see here, the super friends, they are actually in the garden of a big old house. This is actually a big house, okay? Big old house. You can see it looks dilapidated. Okay, so okay, let's look. So Misty says, "That's the old house. Let's go in." And the three of her super friends say, "Go in? No way." So actually, she invites them. She asks them to join her to go into the old house, the big old house. And they are actually right now in the garden of the big old house. The second frame says, okay, second frame, Misty walks towards the big old house and she says, okay, let me go in, wait for me here. Okay, then the rest of them, the super friends, they say, careful, Misty. Third frame, so now Misty is already in the house. And just now they were in the garden of the big old house, the garden of the big old house. And now she's already in the, take note of the pictures, but later on we will go one by one. We will go in detail. We will go in depth of each frame, okay? So now the third frame, she's in the house now. And there is nothing much to see because she straight away goes to the, when she enters the big old house, the easiest for her to go, I mean the entry actually connects her to a passage to go to the cellar. So this is actually the cellar. You can see it's very dark. It's very dark. It's very dark and it's going down. And there's nothing much. You see, even the staircase, it is not that it's not that beautiful, okay? It's very basic. So it must be the cellar. Okay? So she says, the stairs to the cellar. Okay, that means she finds the stairs to the cellar once she enters the big old house. The stairs to the cellar. Then she steps down. That means she goes down. Okay, she goes down the stairs. The stairs to the cellar. How many are there? So, okay, this is what she says. So, that one is later for us to check how many stairs are there. But right now, we will go to, because we want to get a general picture of the graphic story. Okay, frame 4. Okay, frame 4. Okay, when she goes down the stairs, okay, she feels cold. It's cold here. Okay, normally a cellar is cold because it is underground. So, of course, it's cold. So she says it's cold here. What's this? So when she when she goes down the stairs, a black cat accidentally almost um, almost like bang into her. Okay, so it was actually climbing up the stairs, a black cat, but it almost banged into Misty, because actually this cat, the black cat, cannot see Misty. Actually, when you can see beginning, when Misty was actually in front, in the garden of the big old house with her super friends, she was visible. Then later, when she went into the house, she made herself invisible. Okay, she made herself invisible because she has the superpower of uh, where she can actually become invisible. So she made herself invisible. Then she went into the house. So the cat actually couldn't, actually cannot see her. That's why it just when it climbed the stairs, it couldn't see Misty, but it almost accidentally banged Misty. Okay, okay. Frame 5. So she goes down and she's in the cellar now. What does she find? Okay, yuck, big spiders. That means in the fifth frame, she finds big spiders, big black spiders. Okay, and there are many of them. That one later we will count when we write the description. Okay, and number 6, she also finds, wow, big rats. She also finds big rats. Okay, they are also, I think, a bit dark gray. They are also dark grayish or maybe black. Okay, and she also finds big rats. First, she almost bangs into a black cat which is climbing the stairs. Then big spiders. Then big rats. Okay, and the seventh frame. Okay, seventh frame is, okay. She's inside here. She's inside the big old house. Okay, and the super friends are actually worried about her. So who is this? This is Whisper. Whisper calls for her and asks, Misty, where are you? So they wanted to make sure whether she's fine, whether she's okay in the old house. So who is this? This is Whisper. Whisper asks Misty, where are you? And what she says, there's no problem, you can come in. Okay, that means she's actually telling she's all right, she's fine. And actually she went in earlier because she has the superpower of being invisible, so maybe she can go in uh, unnoticeably. So that is why she went in, because she can go in invisibly. She can go in invisible and cannot be noticed. Okay, so that's why she went in. Then when she checked everything is okay, then she called them to come in. In in the eighth frame, you can see that she's already out, because when she actually came out of the big old house, she's still invisible, so they couldn't see her. The super friends couldn't see her. So when she came in invisible, so when the other super friends in frame 7, they did not want to go in, they just waited for her. So what she did was she came out, but she made herself still invisible until she was already down the pathway in the garden. Then then she said, "Here I am." So when she said, "Here I am," and she's still like as if she's still answering from the big old house, and suddenly she becomes visible. And of course, when she goes into the cellar, okay, the cellar is dusty, and maybe there's a lot of dirt and dust which uh, got stuck on her clothes and also her face. So her face was smeared with dust. So when she comes out, when she says, "Here I am," she says from the house, then she's already coming out of the house. So because she's invisible, the super friends cannot see her. So when she comes near them, then they get frightened. Why? Because they see that Misty looks very haggard. She looks haggard because she's full of dust and dirt, and she has collected it on her clothes. It's already and also, the dust and dirt has smeared her face, all smeared on her face. So they got scared, and there were these animals like rats and black cat following her. So they actually got scared, and they asked for, when she said, "Here I am," and suddenly she becomes visible and she looks like this, and with the black cat and also the rats coming, following her, and actually coming after her, the super friends got scared and they asked for help. You see help. Okay, so they also try to run away because they got scared, because they're thinking, what happened to Misty? Why suddenly she changed into looking so like, full of dirt and dust? What happened to her? So maybe they thought that maybe she was actually possessed by a maybe a demon, or maybe a bad soul in the uh, old house, big old house. Because this house is actually, the big old house is actually a house which has been left behind without uh, any occupant. There's no one here staying. Okay, so of course they feel scared when they see Misty like this. Okay, let's go to the okay, let's go to each frame and check. Okay, so what are we going to check in each frame? First thing, because from this graphic story, we are going to write a description. Okay, this one you don't have to think first, building or not. Okay, but later on I will tell you what are we going to describe and why we are going to describe that. Okay, so we have understood the story. So let's go one by one. Okay, first thing we have to see in frame 1. Okay, in frame 1, what what is the important dialogue which describes something? It doesn't matter whether describe the super friends or describes the surrounding area, or describes uh, the old house, the big old house. So if you see here, there's the old house. Let's go in. Go in, no way. So we can clearly say that that's the old house. Let's go in. So this is the one that actually describes something. Okay, this sentence shows there is some description. So let's write the sentence. Okay, that's the old house. Okay, then Then, okay, then let's go in. Okay, this is the first sentence which shows us that, okay, shows us that or tells us that this is a description. Okay, so second sentence. Okay, frame 2 now. Is there any sentence which tells us about any description? Okay, second frame. Okay, let me go in. Wait for me here. This is an instruction. Okay, this is an advice from Thunder. So there is no description here. Okay, so in frame 2 there is no description. Okay, let's go to the third one. Okay, when Misty already inside the when Misty goes uh, into the big old house and finds the entrance to the cellar. Okay, okay, what can you see? Is there any sentence which describes something, or what we say, any sentence which is actually a description of something? Okay, so you can see here the stairs to the cellar. How many are there? Okay, this is actually a descriptive sentence. Okay, the stairs to the cellar. How many are there? This is a question which follows the description. So this is an important sentence. So this is a description. So what you can do is you can open here. Okay, I'm sorry, not you type. So this is also a description. So I'm going to type this here. The stairs to the cellar. Okay. Okay. How many are there? Okay. So that is the third frame. Okay. First frame, you've got the description. Second frame, there's no description. Third frame, there's also a description. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to the fourth frame. Sorry. Fourth frame. Is there any description here? Let's check. It's cold here. What's this? Okay. This is a description. This is actually, this sentence is describing how how is the room? How is the surrounding of where Misty is in? So we have to write here. It's cold. It's cold here. What's this? Okay, because uh, actually Misty did not see. Okay, the cat just suddenly just ran across her while climbing the stairs, because it just climbed the it was climbing, actually the cat is actually climbing the stairs uh, actually very fast, because it's climbing very fast. So Misty did not notice. Okay, did not notice what was the animal, or what was it. Okay, fifth frame. Yuck, big spiders. So this is actually not a sentence. This is actually just a phrase. But even then, even though it's a phrase, but it still describes what she finds in the cellar. So it is still considered as description. Okay. So you write here, yuck, big spiders. Okay, sixth frame. Sixth frame. Okay, also same like this now. Same like the fifth frame. Okay, yuck, big spiders is also a phrase here. Wow, big rats. So this is also description. This is also a description of what she finds in the cellar. Wow, big rats. Big rats. Okay, so we have here frame. Okay, we have done until frame 6. Now will be going to frame 7 and 8. Okay, this is the conclusion of the graphic story. Okay, what happens? Okay, let's see. Let's see the dialogue in frame 7. There's no problem, you can come in. Actually, Misty is giving advice to her friends, the super friends, that it's alright to come in. And Whisper, not sorry, yes, Whisper is worried about Misty, so he asked Misty, where are you? So this is actually an advice, and this sentence is actually a question. This is actually a question. It's not a sentence. This is a question, and this is actually an advice. Okay, there's no problem. So there is no description in frame 7. Okay, there's no description in frame 7. Okay, let's look at frame 8. Okay, frame 8. Here I am. That means she tells them that she's already outside, but they couldn't see her. So suddenly, when she was visible and she saw like all full of dirt and dust, they got scared. They got scared, and also because the animals followed her, that made them even scarier. Sorry, it was it was scarier for them. It was more scary for them. Sorry. I'm really like rushing. Wait. They got scared because when the animals from the big old house followed Misty, they were like suddenly shocked. What are these animals out of nowhere coming and suddenly coming up? And then only they see Misty visible. So they got scared. So they tried to run away and ask for help. Okay. So frame 8, here I am, help. So Misty is telling them she's out the house, from the big old house, and these super friends are scared. So this has got nothing to do with any description. So there is also no description in frame 8. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have done all the frames. Okay. Okay. Okay, later on we can go through the we can go through this graphic story in detail, but there will be another lesson. Uh, but for today more we are more concerned about how to write a description out of this graphic story. So we are actually taking into consideration of the descriptive of the description or any descriptive sentences in each frame. Okay, let's look at the first frame. Okay, frame 1, there is a description here. That's the old house. Let's go in. Okay, frame 2, there is no description. From the dialogue, we can learn that there is no description. Third frame, there is a description. The stairs to the cellar, how many are there? And fourth frame, there's also a description. It's cool here. What's this? And frame 5, yuck, big spiders. This is not a sentence, but this is actually just a phrase. But this phrase actually tells us something. So I will still say this is a description of Misty finds um, in the cellar in frame 5. Okay, same goes to frame 6. This is also a phrase of what Misty finds in the cellar in the 6th frame. Okay, it's also a description, huh? Even though it's a phrase. Okay, frame 7, there is no description. And frame 8 also there's no description. Okay, so how many frames that we have description? Okay, let's see. First frame, third frame, fourth frame, fifth frame, and sixth frame. How many is that? How many frames has got descriptive sentence or description? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oh, sorry, not 6. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. So how many descriptive sentences we can find from the frames? 5. There are 5 descriptive sentences or description from the frames. But we still need to look at the pictures when we write a description. When we write a description of any characters or anything in the graphic story, when we write a description about any one of these characters or things or surrounding, we have to take note of the sentences, the descriptions, and also you also have to look at the pictures once again. You cannot just uh, write a description based on the sentences alone, descriptive sentences alone. You still have to refer to the pictures again, all the pictures. Okay, so we will come back here again. So we already know there are 5. There are 5 descriptive sentences or descriptions. Either they are sentences or phrases. Okay, so that actually tells us a lot of some details, not a lot, but some details about the graphic story, which you can actually use to write a description. Okay, now, so we have done that. That's the second part. We have done that. So now, let's look at this. Okay, how to write a description using WH questions and how. Okay, so to write a description, okay, you cannot straight away use the sentences, or what I'm saying is you cannot use the descriptions or the descriptive sentences and straight away write a description. So uh, you have to know a few things before you write a description. So you have to know, first thing you have to know, there you see, when you want to write this, how to write a description using WH questions and how. That means you can use WH questions and how to actually uh, make a draft of what you can actually understand and what you can actually derive from the descriptive sentences um, in the frames of the graphic story. So first thing we have here which. Okay, write a description. So before you write a description, you have to question. You have to answer the question which, where, when, what, why, and how. Okay, so this question actually you have to answer them based on the based on each frame based on each frame of the graphic story. Or you can also look at the whole picture of the graphic story. Okay, you can you can go back to the whole picture, whole story, graphic story, and check also. But most importantly, you have to go through like one frame at a time, one by one. Okay. So first, let's look at this. Okay, which. So before you write a description, first thing, okay, which. So I will start with the first question, which is which. Why I say which? Because firstly, you have to understand, because you are not going to answer questions from the graphic story, but you are actually going to write a description about a character or a few characters or surrounding of the house or the or okay, how it looks from outside. I mean the house, how it looks outside. So we don't know what are we what do we have to describe. So when you see the picture, sorry, not the picture. When you see the graphic story here, on the whole, when you actually see from the start at the house, okay, this is the title at the house. The title itself suggests that, okay, at the house means, okay, it suggests that the whole story, the graphic story is actually talking about the house. But then you also have to look at each frame. You have to understand, okay, it's all about the house. Okay, the first frame talking about the house. Second, goes into the house. Misty goes into the house. Then she finds the stairs, and she goes down. Then what she finds inside the cellar, okay, all the animals that she finds inside the cellar, how the cellar looks, and also what happens next. Okay, so from here we can really see that, and you can also see from the description, that's the whole house. Let's go. Okay, let's read the first until the let's read out all the 5 descriptions. Okay, that's the old house. Let's go in. The stairs to the cellar, how many are there? It's cold here. What's this? Yuck, big spiders. Wow, big rats. So all this actually, it if you put all these descriptions together, if you put them all together, okay, let's read one more time. Let's put them all together. Okay, to answer the question which, okay. So we will read this first. The frame one, there's the old house. Let's go in. There's the old house. Let's go in. Okay, the stairs to the cellar, how many are there? It's cold here. What's this? Yuck, big spiders. Wow, big rats. Okay, so all these 5, okay, if if you if you heard all of them right, all these 5 descriptive sentences actually tells us which 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 what? Which character or uh, characters or which things in the story or object in the story we are talking about. Okay, so first thing you have to answer this: which characters or which objects or which surrounding is the graphic story uh, mostly talking about, okay, telling us about. Okay, so of course the answer is the answer will be, okay, the answer will be, you just listen here first. Okay, I will tell you this, then later on we will go to the next one. Okay, so which is the actually old house. Okay, so we are actually talking about, the story actually tells us about the house, at the house. So tells the story actually tells us about the house. So which character or which place or which surrounding or which character? So talking about the old house. So that is the number 1 answer. Okay. The old house. Okay. Okay. The old house. Okay. That's right here. So that you will not forget the old house. Okay, that's the answer. Okay. Okay. Second. The second question will be where. Where. Okay, where. Where. Okay. Where means place. Okay, let's look at the five descriptive sentences or the five descriptions. Okay, let's see what we can see. Okay, the first frame itself, that's the old house. So which character or which object we are talking about? The old house. That is why I put in bracket building. Okay, okay, I put in bracket here building. So from there, what we understand is we are going to actually write a description of a building. An old house is a building. Okay, but it's just old and dilapidated. So it's an old house, so it is an old building. Okay, so we are going to write a description of a building from this graphic story. So now you understand why I put here, why I type here building. Okay. Okay, let's see. The first one, from the first one, we can know that that's the old house. Let's go in. So we already answered for the first question, which we are talking about which character or which object. Okay, so the old house. Then let's look at frame 2. There is no. Okay, so let's actually refresh our memory on the five descriptions or the five descriptive sentences. So the second one is the stairs to the cellar. How many are there? Okay, the stairs to the cellar, how many are there? So this actually answers what? Where? Where? Okay, where Misty is. So where Misty is? Okay, first, okay, of course, as I said, we have to take note of all the of all the sentences, but we also have to look at the pictures as a whole. Okay, let's look at the picture as a whole. Okay, where uh in this eight frames, in these pictures, eight frames, uh what other what are the other words which also describe where, which can answer the question where? So so it must be any word which describes a place. So here there is no dialogue telling us about other than cellar. There is no other place that has been described here in the story. I mean, it is not in the dialogue, but you can see they are actually first from the first frame you can actually see that all the four super friends are actually in the garden. So super friends are in the garden of a big old house. So this is the first one. So even then, it is not written, it is not in the description, it is not also in the dialogue, so in any frames, but you can still see there is a garden here. So beginning, they are all in the garden. So that is also important. So it not necessarily that it has to be uh, focused on the dialogues or also the descriptive sentences which are in all the frames, but you also have to look at the pictures as well. Okay, because when you describe you have to be precise. So that means even though it is not stated, but from the picture we can also understand where the question where, to answer the question where. So you have two answers. You have to understand that there are two answers for the question where. One is garden, and the other one is, okay, let's put number. Number one is garden, and number two is cellar. Cellar. Where is a cellar? Cellar is on. Cellar is always underground. When you enter a house, it is always underground. Underground a house, because where the those actually it is like a big storeroom, which is very big, but it is underground. That means it is below the first floor. I mean, sorry, below the ground floor. So that's why it's called underground floor. Okay, but normally people don't go down, only for to take, sometimes to take things. So we can actually, cellar is actually same like a basement, but we call it cellar. Okay, we call it cellar. Cellar is the better word. Okay, so Misty is actually in the cellar, in frame what? In frame 3. Okay. Okay, how many are there? That one later we will come to that. Okay. So to answer where, so the answer will be okay, garden and cellar. Okay, I want to underline this, then you will not have a clear picture. So let's clear the underline. Okay, now let's look at when. Okay, because we already know from the answer, when we answered the question which, that means we already know that we are talking about the old house. Okay, we are actually talking about the old house. So because of that, and from there we also answered the question where. That means what is the story talking about? Where are the places that the story is actually talking about, okay, or telling us. Okay, that means cellar, a garden, and also cellar. Okay, the third one, when. So because you know the first question, which is answers you that we are going to actually write a description based on the graphic story. We are actually going to write a description of the old house. So when you write a description of of a building, sorry, so you also have to take note of when. Okay, why? Because every building is built on a certain date, and when they finish building the date sorry when they finish building the house or any building, so there will be a date, because there will be a date when it was built, that means fully built. So from there we can know when it was built. So from there we can also derive that whether it's an old building or a new building. So that is why when you describe a building, you need to know when it was built. But here in this graphic story, we only know from the picture, we only know that it is an old house, big old house, and it has already been left for many years, and you can see the look. And it also says, the dialogue also says, that's the old house, let's go in. So from here we know it's an old house. So but there is no evidence here, or there is no any description saying that when it was built. Okay, but normally when you want to describe a building, you have to write about when it was built. But here there is no detail about when it was built. So what we have to do, there's no description too. So we just let go. We just let go of this question when. So we've already answered the first one which, and the second one where, and the third one when. There is no detail at all, or there's no description at all about when it was built. So we can just leave it. So what? Okay, what is an important question? Why? Because here you can see there are so many things which can actually answer the question what. Okay. First, let's look at the sentences. Okay. There's the old house. Let's go in. This is actually what, but answers the question what. But because we've already categorized this description for the first question, to answer the first question, which is which, so we forego this. Then let's see number 2, and this number second sentence, descriptive sentence, but frame 3, in frame 3. So it says the stairs to the cellar. Okay, this sentence actually describes where. Besides garden, also tells us that Misty goes into the cellar. Okay, there's a cellar in the house. Okay, how many are there? Okay, so okay, here you can also derive that the stairs to the cellar. That means Misty is actually finds an entrance and stairs to the cellar when she enters the house. So when she goes into the house and she finds the stairs to the cellar, that means stairs is actually answering the question of what. Stairs is actually answering the question of what. So stairs, okay, stairs. Okay, how many stairs? Okay, so from here, stairs to the cellar, how many are there? So how many are there is later on we have to consider, we have to find out. So we understand the question for what. Sorry, the question for what you can actually answer. Oh, okay, we have to answer what first. Okay, it's supposed to be how first. Never mind, we will do what. Okay, that means first thing you find is stairs. Stairs. Okay. What else do you find? Okay, let's look at the descriptive sentences. The 5 descriptive sentences. Okay, we have already done the second one, so we can conclude that stairs is also answering the question what. So the first one is stairs. Second one, what is this? What's this? Okay, this also tells us that Misty comes across a black cat and she doesn't realize that what is that anymore, but in the picture we can know that it is a black cat. It is not stated here, but we can see. So what we can see other than stairs in the cellar, second is black cat. Black cat. Then okay, frame 4, frame 5. Okay, frame 5 also there is. Okay, this is the descriptive phrase, yuck, big spiders. So this actually answers the answers the question of what. What is in the cellar? So you can write here also big spiders. 3. Big spiders. Okay. Let's look again. Let's see whether there are any more questions, any more phrases or sentences, descriptive sentences, which can answer the question what. Okay, big spiders. Okay, and the sixth frame, wow, big rats. Okay, so big rats in the cellar. So that also is a descriptive sentence. What Misty finds in the cellar. So big rats also what you can find in the cellar. So it answers the question of what. Big rats. Oops. So stairs, black cat, big spiders, big rats. Okay. Okay, there are more actually, but that one later on I will let you know. Okay. Or maybe we can just have a look and check. Okay. Okay. Okay, because this is a descriptive language, descriptive sentence. So we have to describe of what actually, okay, just now from the sentences, descriptive sentences, and also from the phrases, we can find out these are the things that we can find in the pictures and also in the dialogues, okay, or in the descriptive sentences. But let's look one more time, okay. So what? So here there is no answer for what. So the answer for what is stairs. Okay, so let's look how many stairs are there, because we also have to take note of how many stairs are there. Okay, so we have to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's read again. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they are actually 8. So because we have to write description where we have to be precise. So we also can write the number of the stairs. So we can write here. Okay, we can write here 8, 8 stairs. Okay, I just put the number first. Later on we will write in word numbers. Okay. In word numbers or word in word in word, sorry. That means now I put here as numbers. Later on I will, when I teach you how to write, I will write the word for this numbers. Okay, 8 stairs. And let's look what else Misty finds in the cellar. Oh, a black cat. We forgot the cat just now. Oh no, this is the second one. Okay, the cellar, there are 7 stairs. In the frame 3, there are 7, no, not 7, 8 stairs. Okay, just now we counted. And the second picture, what? Black cat. So 1 black cat. So you write here. Of course, 1 black cat is actually 1. But here, because 1 is also a black cat, so I just write here a. Okay. Okay, that answers for this. For the which frame? Uh, 2. Third. This is a third descriptive sentence. Okay. So from the picture, we know there's a black cat in frame 4. Now, spiders. Okay, what? So we also have spiders. How many are there? Because we are talking about spiders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it 7? Yes, there are 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 big spiders. Because we already know there are spiders, we just write here 7. 7. Okay. 7 big spiders. Okay. Maybe I should put maybe it's confusing. Maybe I should just change this to a bracket so it's easier for you to see. I cannot write in as a list as in a list form, because there's another circle map, not circle map, sorry, bubble map below this. So I'm just afraid that it will move around. So that's why I have to use this. Okay, just change this to bracket. Maybe we can just bring this down so it will look easier. It will be easier for you to see. Okay, so there are 4, and let's clear the underline. Okay, so we have actually answered the question for what. Okay, why. So we've answered for which, where, and what. And when, we've also answered, but there is no description about when the old house was built. Why? Okay, is there any sentence which describes us why? So why is actually, maybe that question may be about why. Okay, why. Where is actually about where the building was built, but since there is nothing about description about where the building was built, so we just talk about where are the parts of the house that are in the story. Okay, and why. Okay, why means why the building was built. Okay, why the building was built, because we're talking about the building, we're talking about the whole house, we're not talking about other characters. So to answer why it was built, let's see whether there is any description on why it was built. Let's see from the first one. Okay, let me go in. Careful, Misty. Okay, the first frame. No. The first frame is there's the old house. Let's go in. We only know it's the old house. That's the old house. That's all. That's the old house. Let's go in. We don't know more than that. Okay. Then the second one, is there any? Okay, the second one, there's no description. Third, the description is for uh, which where, and also answers the question where and also what. So there is nothing about when. And let's see, is there any here? It's cold here. What's this? Okay, what's this? That means also answering the question of where. Oh, sorry, what. So there is nothing about when. And this one, also no phrase describing about when. And how about the last three? Frame 6 also doesn't describe anything about when. Okay, 7 and 8, there is no description at all, which is related to this. There is no description at all about the old house here. So we can say that there is no description about why. So just now we did not have any description about when, and we do not have any description on why. So we have actually done which, where. We've already answered the question for which, where, what. Which, where, and what. And why there is no description. So now let's go to how. Okay, how. Yes, there is a question, how, and we need to see whether this question how has got any answers from the descriptive sentences here. The 5 descriptive sentences here. Let's see. Or maybe the picture. Okay. Frame 1, that's the old house. Let's go in. How? Remember, the question is how. How? Okay, frame 2, there's no description, so we don't have to worry about frame 2. Frame 3, the stairs to the cellar. How many are there? Okay, this is to answer question what, and also where. It's cold here. What's this? Okay. Frame 4, how. So what will answer the question how? So the question will be like, how is the cellar? How is the cellar? That means how does the cellar look like? So that is what you're going to answer for how. So it is stated here, it's cold here. So this cold, it's cold here actually describes how it is in the cellar. So actually we can use the word cold to describe how it is in the cellar. Okay. How is the situation in the cellar? So you can write here number 1, cold. Okay, that is actually describing how it is in the cellar. Okay. Okay. Then anything else? Wait, let us see whether there are more answers for the question how. Okay, how? It's cold here. Then big spiders answer the question for what. Big rats answers the question for what. And 7 and 8, there's no description. So there's no more answer for how. But now you have to look at the pictures. Even then, even though there are no more answers for how, you have to look at the pictures. Okay, you have to look at the pictures. So we have to describe the cellar or the old house, and where we are describing the cellar. So what you can see from the pictures. Okay, first one, there's nothing to see because she's not in the house. Misty is still not inside the house. It's the same thing with the second one. Third one, how does it look? Okay, third picture, you can actually describe about how the cellar looks. Firstly, it looks dark. Okay, I forgot this just now. Okay, so it's also dark. From the picture, you can describe that the cellar is dark. Okay, that is frame 3. And frame 4, we've already done. It's cold. Dark and cold. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's write here first. Dark. So number 2 will be dark. This is based on what? Based on the pictures, okay, in the frames. Dark. Dark. Okay, number 2 is dark. Number 1 is cool. Number 2 is dark. Okay, how it looks, okay. How it looks, cool and dark. Okay, anything else? Oh, I forgot something here. Just now, I did not finish up the big rats. But never mind, let's finish this first. What else can you see here? How does it look? How does the cellar look? Cold and dark. Okay, here it's cold. Then you can see it's dark. Here you can see it's dark. Then you can also see cobwebs. These are called cobwebs. Okay. Okay, cobwebs. Okay. So actually, you can see cobwebs. Cobwebs. Okay, number 5. Just now I did not discuss that. I'm sorry about that. So it has to be number 5. Cobwebs. There are many cobwebs in the cellar. Okay. So cobwebs you cannot count because they are everywhere in the cellar. See, you cannot count. Okay. But here you can count the rats. Okay, you can count. There are actually 1, 2, 3. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there are 9 rats. Okay, 9 big rats. Okay, I'm sorry about this. I forgot just now to describe about the rats. So there are actually 9 big rats. And cobwebs, I did not write how many because cobwebs are everywhere in the cellar. Okay, cobwebs are being spun by spiders. Okay, in old houses, there will be a lot of cobwebs, and it is normally cobwebs are actually spun by spiders because that's where they move around, and that is where spiders use cobwebs their um, as a protection and also to catch insects to eat. Okay, spiders uses cobwebs, okay, uh, to catch insects as their food and also for protection. Okay, if you do not know, so that's what I'm telling you. So we've already answered. So what we have answered, we've only answered the questions for which, where, what, and how. See, I've answered here. Why? Because these are the only questions that we can answer from the graphic story to write a description of the old house. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so now we are already going to go to the almost the last part, but not yet the last part. So where we have to actually write the details of actually what of an of a of an old house which we already read here. Okay, we are going to write description of the old house that we find in the graphic story. Okay, so first thing, okay, we have to answer from here. Okay, so we will start with the question which. So we will use this question which to answer the first part, the first detail of the narrative. So which which character or which object are we talking about in the graphic story, which needs us to actually uh, describe. We can actually describe the old house. Why? Because that's the thing that being the whole story, graphic story is all about the old house. So which object? The old house. So you can write the answer here. So the first one, the answer will be in the center here because that's the first one. So it will be the old house. Okay. Or you can also write the big old house. So that will be the title because we are actually talking about that object in the we're talking about that in the graphic story. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let's move this a bit in the center so that will be easier for you to see. Okay, so the title will the the focus will be in on sorry the focus will be on the big old house. Okay. Okay, now the second question. Okay, I have actually arranged these questions. Actually, we answered these questions just now here, but I have already arranged those questions in a way that it will be uh, more appropriate when we write the description of the old house. So firstly, it will be which, then where, then how, and what. Okay, actually we discuss about what first, but then only we discuss about how, because how is more to the we find out from the picture, and how is like something that you can see later on with one of the pictures. Okay, you can derive from the pictures, and when you look at the whole story, uh, when you look at it in a general view, then you can find out that you can answer the question how. So that is why I think that how has to be described first before what Misty finds in the old house. Okay, so that is why I have arranged in such a way that we will answer which, where, how, and what. Okay. Okay. So the big house. Okay, we've already answered. Okay, and now we are going to look at where. garden and cellar. So garden and cellar. So we will write here. So this will be our second question, which will be garden wait. Okay, it will be okay. Garden. Wait. Okay, it will be garden and cellar. Garden, cellar. Okay, so this is how you actually mm, put all the details into a bubble map. So before you start writing a description of the old house, it is advisable for you to draw a bubble map and put in all the words or all the answers which are important for you, or the words that you need to use in your description. Color and how. So how will be the third question, cold and dark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know whether there's enough. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's only 6. So, wait. Maybe we can use the same thing here. Cold. Okay, so how? We're going to answer how first. Cold and dark. So that is the second question. See, we can make it a bit longer. Okay. Cold and dark answers the third question, how? Okay. Okay. Cold and dark. Cold and dark. Okay. And the last question that we're going to answer, we've already answered which, we've already answered where, and put the details into the bubble map. And now we're going to answer the fourth question. We've answered how, and now we're going to answer the fourth question, which is what. Oh, we have a few here. Stairs, black cat, spiders, big rats, and cobwebs. So we will see whether it can all fit in here. What you can see, okay, let's check first. Uh, there are 5. Let's see whether there are 5 places here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there are 6. Okay, so what we're going to do? Okay, never mind. We will put one by one first. Okay, stairs. Okay, so we are going to answer the last question. What? Stairs. Okay, we will put in all the we put in all the things that we can find in the cellar first. What Misty finds in the cellar first? Cat, black cat. Okay, I changed the stairs. Okay. Black cat. Okay, done. What else? Okay, what can we see in the cellar? Black cat, big spiders. Okay, let's write here. big spiders. Big spiders. Okay. Big spiders, big rats. Uh, big rats. Okay, big rats. And cobwebs. Okay, cobwebs. Cobwebs. Okay, can we make it a bit bigger? Okay, okay. So let's see. Okay, so there is still one more space that we can use. Okay, cold dark. So what we will do is cold dark. Okay, then we have one more space. What we can do is, okay, how? Okay, how? We can actually add for how. Okay, let's see how in the picture. How does the cellar look? Let's see again. It is cold. It's cold. First thing, it is cold and dark. Then later on, you can also see there is dust. Okay, that is why when dusty, okay, you can actually find dust. You can actually find dust. That is why when Misty comes out, you know, she's smeared. Her face is smeared, and her clothes are all, you know, full of dust. So you can actually say the cellar is also dusty, or you can say full of dust. So you can add another one here, or what you can do, you can just write here dust, or where shall I put it? Dust. Okay, let's put it here. It's okay. Okay, important thing is that it's all here. Then after that, you can arrange them when you write. Okay. Okay, sorry, some words are big, some words are small because I have to make sure it's all intact, the intact the bubble map. Okay, so we have already, okay, transferred all this information from the question we answered. So we have already put in all the details details of the description into a bubble map now, so you can see. So this is the which object we are talking about. So we are actually in the graphic story. The story is mainly about the big old house. Okay, then after that, where 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 in the house that uh, this graphic story taking place? First in the garden, then later on cellar. Then when Misty goes in, what happens? Okay, how she how does the cellar look like? Okay, it's cold and dark. Then what from the story? What can you find in the cellar? 8 stairs, a black cat, 7 big spiders, 9 big rats, and cobwebs. Oh, and also dust. Okay, dust. Huh? We just added dust, right? So it will be the first one, dust. Yes. Or you can just put it as number. Okay, we will put it as dust because dust and cobwebs are almost in the same category. Okay. So they are those things which piles up in a place where have been left long, left long without anyone taking care of the place. So it is in the same category. So we put them together, cobwebs. Okay, even though we have already put the dust here because suddenly there is no, it's difficult for me to rearrange it, but it's okay. This is just a circle map, so it's okay. So later on, when you write, then you just have to like take each one and write. Okay. So this is the details of the description of the old house, the big old house in a bubble map. So first, we're talking about from the graphic story. We're talking about the big old house. Okay. So from the graphic story, also we know where the story takes place. First in the garden, then later cellar, then later on when it's in the cellar. Okay, how the cellar looks like. Okay, how is the cellar? It's cold and dark. And what do they find there? Okay, what does Misty find there? Dust, stairs, cat, big spiders, black cat, big spiders, big rats, and cobwebs. Okay, some of them are not written in the dialogue, but you find out from the story, from the graphic story itself, from the pictures. So it's not necessarily that you have to look at the descriptive sentences or look at the dialogues, but you also have to take note of what is in all the pictures in the frames. That is how you write a good description uh, of any object or any character. Okay, but in this sense, we are writing about the old house. Okay, so now we can actually start writing. Okay, we can actually write now about the old house. So from here, okay, we can start with, of course, this is the title, the big old house. So how are we going to start? So we have to put an indent because it is same like a description is almost same like writing but it only has to be a short paragraph, one short paragraph, because you're writing a description of one simple description of one uh, building, which is the old house. So let's start. So we will start with this. Okay, this is how you have to start, huh? Okay, okay. This. My goodness, what's happening? Okay, there. Okay, you have to give me some time. Don't know why it's coming here. Okay, so we will start with this. Okay, because we can actually start from this because you can see here in the uh, in the graphic story. Actually, the story itself starts with there's the old house. So you can actually start with the description with there's the old house, or you can start with there's an old house. But we are not talking about any old house, but we are talking about the old house in the picture in frame one. I'm sorry. We are actually talking about the old house in the graphic story at the house, and we are talking about that old house. So we will just write there. That's the. Unless there are many houses, old houses, and you have to pick one in the story. I mean, they show you many houses, then you go into a house, then you have to write there's a old house and old house. There's an old house. But here, because it's only one, so we will start with that's the old, the big, or you can write old house, or it's easier, you can write just big, big, you can see from outside, so big old house. That's the big old house. Okay, that's the starting. Okay, then that's the big old house. Okay, so that means there is the big old house. Okay, then we will start with garden and cellar. Okay, so it has, okay, it has a garden. Okay, it has a garden. because we are writing a description of the whole house. So we are not writing about the story, or we are not writing about the what is happening in the story, or we're not writing about the characters in the story. We are just writing a description of the old house from the graphic story. So we just write about the house. Okay, you see, the instruction says that is why we've been all along talking and discussing about the house. Okay, write a description. Why I put here building? Building is just a general category for the house. Okay, a house, an old house, or a new house. All houses, they go into the same category, which is building. Okay, so write a description of building, or write a description of the old house from the graphic story. Okay, at the house. Okay, so it has a garden. Okay, it has a garden. Okay, so when she goes in, so Misty finds what she finds a cellar at the entrance. So we can just write, okay, we do not need to write with very difficult sentences, because we are writing a description. We just uh, adhere to simple sentences and simple grammar. So we don't have to write very bombastic sentences, because this is not, we are writing a narrative or creative writing. So we just need to stick to the basic sentences with basic grammar. So we will use more of it, there is, and all. Okay. So there's the big old house. It has a garden. There is a cellar at the entrance. Okay, because when she enters, she can see the cellar. When she enters the house, okay, there is a cellar at the entrance. Okay, you don't need to tell entrance of the house, because we're already talking about the house. So there is the big old house. It has a garden. There is a cellar at the entrance. Full stop. Enough, because we don't have to write very long. So we are actually describing. Okay, so we have already done the second part, which is the garden and cellar. So now we are going to talk about how does the cellar look like. How does the cellar not look like, but how is the cellar? Okay. Okay. So we are talking about the cellar. So you can write the cellar is cold and dark. Or you can write dark and cold. But I think it will be better to write cold and dark. Okay? Because you can feel. And when you go in, you can feel, then you can see. Okay, cold and dark. The cellar is cold and dark. So we've already answered how. Okay, there how. So now we are going into what. So there are a lot of things to describe about what. Okay. So what are we going to first write? Okay. First, what does Misty finds? Misty finds stairs. Okay, stairs to the, when she enters, uh, she first, there's a cellar at the entrance, and there is also stairs to the cellar. The cellar is cold and dark. Okay, there are there are okay, there are, we are talking about stairs. Okay, actually we can write here how many stairs just now? 8. So we write here 8. We just put here because I don't want to confuse you just now. That's why I never put the numbers. Okay, let's see whether we can put 8. It's okay, we don't put here because if not, it'll be confusing. Not confusing, it will not be neat. So let's just stick to the answer above here, because we are already talking about the stairs, so we know. Okay, first at the entrance, she finds stairs to the cellar. Okay, the cellar is cold and dark. There are how many stairs? 8 stairs. Okay, there are 8. So you spell the word. Okay, don't write the number but spell the word. Okay, when you write an essay or descriptive or a description or a narrative, okay, you should not put the numbers but you write the words. Okay, there are 8 stairs. Okay, so then after that, 8 stairs. Then what does Misty find after that? A black cat. So you can write there a black cat. So actually you don't have to write they are black cat because the black cat is actually moving. It is not like moving very uh, uh, very slowly, but it is moving very fast and it almost hit Misty. So we don't have to describe that there is a black cat. It's not sitting still. So we write there a black cat. It's actually moving. Okay. This black cat climbs the stairs. The black cat climbs the stairs. Okay. So there are 8 stairs and a black cat climbs the stairs. Okay. Okay, let's see. There's the big old house. It has a garden. There is a cellar at the entrance. The cellar is cold and dark. There are 8 stairs. So what you can see inside there, inside the cellar, a black cat climbs up the stairs. Okay, it climbs up the stairs. It's not going down. You see, it's not going down. See, it's climbing up the stairs. Okay. Okay. Okay, a black cat climbs up the stairs. And now, big spiders. Okay, dust and cobwebs, we'll put it together because they are in the same category. Okay, because they are things that you can find in a old house. Okay, so it will be appropriate for you to write them together later on. Okay, a black cat climbs up the stairs. So we have to write that it's moving. You cannot just write there is a black cat because it is not sitting in one place. It's moving. So we just write that a black cat climbs up the stairs. Okay, then we find big spiders. Okay, how many big spiders? There are 7 big spiders. So you write here. Big spiders are all on the cobwebs. They are not moving fast, but they are just, they're stagnant or maybe a little bit moving here and there. So we don't have to write as if they are doing any action. Okay, so we can just write there are 7. Like I said just now, you cannot write numbers, but you have to write the words. 7 big. You have to write big spiders because it is given there in the it is already given in the it is already given in the you see it is already given in the description, in the dialogue, sorry. Okay, big spiders, big rats. Okay, so you write that big. You have to write big. Okay, because you have to be precise when you describe. Okay, there are big spiders. How many? 7. Okay, 7. Okay, that 7 big spiders. And what else are there in the cellar? Okay, there are 9 big rats. There are 9 big rats. Okay, there are 9 big rats. Okay. Okay. Or you can also write there are 9. There are 9 big rats. There are 7 big spiders. There are 9 big rats in the cellar. You just write there extra cellar because we are still talking about the cellar. So just to remind the reader that we are still talking about the the place which is in the cellar. Okay. Then dust and cobwebs. Okay, how are you going to write dust and cobwebs? Or you can just remove this because we will talk about the cellar. In the cellar, okay, comma, or you can write there are also a lot of dust and let's see dust and cobwebs. Okay, dust and cobwebs. Okay, okay, we will use this in the cellar at the last part. Okay, because then the reader will know we are still talking about the cellar until the last sentence. Okay, the cellar. Okay, check your spelling when you write. You see just now cellar has got 2L and I put 3L just now. Okay, so there are also a lot of dust and cobwebs. Okay, actually dust you cannot count. Dust you cannot count. It's supposed to be there is also a lot of dust. But because we combine the word dust and cobwebs you can count. You can count how many cobwebs. But in the picture we can't see clearly. So that is why I cannot put the number. So because cobwebs can be counted, so I still put there are. Okay? But if it's only dust, it will be there is also a lot of dust in the cellar. So because cobwebs can be counted, so I put there are. Okay? Okay, so dust is uncountable noun and cobwebs are actually countable nouns. Okay, that one later, uh, we will come to that later. Okay, let's see. Have we done? Oh, there is big rats. Okay, 7 big rats. Okay, let's see. Is there anything we want to add? It's a garden. Hmm? Okay, let's see. Check one more time. Is there anything that we have left out? No. So we have used up all the details in the bubble map. So let's read one more time. Okay, whether this describes the old house. Okay, so okay, one more thing is that you have to put a title. The put a title because we are describing about the big. Why is this? Wait. Wait, okay, the because this is the title. If you see, this is the title, big old house. Okay, so we write here the big old house. Okay. So this will be a title. Okay, so we use the center, which is the title of this bubble map, as the title. Okay, and again use that also to describe. Okay, so let's see. Let's check whether the grammar is correct. Is there any spelling mistake or any grammar mistake, and see whether everything is in order. Okay, let's see the numbers first. Okay, never mind. We will read first. Okay, the title is The Big Old House. That's the big old house. It has a garden. There is a cellar at the entrance. The cellar is cold and dark. There are 8 stairs. There are 8 stairs. A black cat climbs up the stairs. There are 7 big spiders. There are 9 big rats. There are also a lot of dust and cobwebs in the cellar. Okay, let's check the number of stairs. Okay, the number of stairs, 8 stairs. A black cat. Okay, a black cat. 8 stairs. Spiders. Big spiders, 7 big spiders. 7 big spiders. How many rats? 9 big rats. 9 big rats. Okay, correct. So let's read. Okay, write a description of the old house. Okay, from the graphic story. So, okay, let's read the title, The Big Old House. That's the big old house. It has a garden. There is a cellar at the entrance. It's cold and dark. There are 8 stairs. The black cat climbs up the stairs. There are 7 big spiders. There are 9 big rats. There are also a lot of dust and cobwebs in the cellar. So why I use are? Because more than one you have to use are. There are. And dust is actually uncountable, but you have to use is. But because I combine with cobwebs is actually a countable noun, so I still use are. And you can see here, there is a seller because we're talking about one seller. So is. Okay, so you understand? Okay, so everything has been done. Okay, so we've already written a description of the old house. Okay, so I hope that this will um, assist you in writing a simple description of a building. You can actually try it on your own. Maybe you can describe about your house, a simple version like this. So till then, happy trying and hope to have another session with you again. Okay, please like teacher's channel. Please like teacher's video and subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank you.